Give me a moment with your friend. I've never been unsure of my thoughts before.
Welcome to the Only One Mic podcast called Gerard Brooklyn Dre. Just Me is out today, but we are joined by returning guest, Miss Kavon Ward. How you doing, Kavon?
Feels good to be back with the brothers in the community.
Yes.
How you doing?
All right, we good.
The new millennium Angela Davis, man.
I take that as a compliment.
Yes.
That's what's up.
We're happy to have you back, for real. Like, we looking at all the accomplishments that was made within the last few days. Felt like we just talked about this situation, and it was like getting off the ground and still in the process and flying the plane while it's being made at the same time.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
Here we are. Black land back.
Yes.
The Roosters have their land back.
They have it back.
It has been returned. Yes, it's official. It has been returned, and that's all. That's all, folks, for that one.
Okay.
On to the next.
On to the next one. On to the next one. All right. So, Kavon, because, we got people that's just jumping on and just, jumping on to the show and everything. Can you give us a quick overview of your background, please?
Sure. I am Kavon Ward. I am the founder of Justice for Bruce's Beach, also founder of Where Is My Land. I started Justice for Bruce's Beach back in 2020, shortly after George Floyd was murdered, to shed light on what was happening, what had happened to Charles and Willa Bruce, and that their land had been taken from them through eminent domain. And it has been almost like a 2-year-long process, legislatively, legally. And the Bruce family has just gotten their land back. And in the meantime, I started a national organization, like I said, called Where Is My Land, where we are trying to help close to 400 other families across this country get their land back. I am a former lobbyist. I'm a spoken word artist. I am a mother. I am a queen of many trades.
All right, so let's jump into this. The Bruces just received their land back. Reparative justice has been restored,
yes.
I should say.
Restorative justice, reparative justice, whatever you want to call it, they got their land back.
They got their land back. Do you feel like you just can take a big sigh of relief on this one and just, like, that one's done?
No, I don't think I could take a sigh because this one is done and because this was the first time in history that land has ever been returned to a Black person or a Black family or anybody Black. There is a large amount of pressure because there's a lot of expectation for me to do the same thing for every Black family. And while I will try my best and use the resources and the connections I have to help these families, I can't guarantee it. It depends on the state, it depends on the policy, it depends on the political officials. There's just so many variables in play that determines whether or not a family gets their land back. But I will be as strategic as possible to see if we can get more than not.
What do you think about the deal that they got? Like, I don't know if you want to call it a deal or the agreement that they made with the county.
So I would not have done that. I would not have sold it back to the county. For me, it's about ensuring that there is generational wealth, right? Like, when I'm dead, I want my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' kids to be able to have access to that. And when you think about it, they'll get about $400,000 a year leasing it. I think that would have been amazing until they could figure out what to do with the land. But they're going to get $400,000 a year for 2 years and then sell it for $20 million. They could have made that back in maybe 40 years, right? But then there's also so many other things to consider, like zoning laws in the city of Manhattan Beach, and knowing that the city of Manhattan Beach doesn't agree with the land being returned to the Bruces. It's obvious that Black people are not wanted in Manhattan Beach. They are an anti-Black city. So a lot of that went into the decision-making process, knowing that you wouldn't be wanted there and that the land has to be used for public use, right? And if the family, they get the land back, I'm not sure they can do anything privately with it unless zoning laws are changed. And we're not confident that the city of Manhattan Beach is willing to change those zoning laws. So, I would have liked to see something different happen, but,
I was thinking that I think the county got off kind of cheap on that one. real cheap. And that's, I was just looking at it from my perspective, but you gave me some insight on it. So you think they scared of like white flight?
I mean, that can definitely factor in, when typically when Black folks move to a community, white people think that they lower the property value and that they leave, you know what I'm saying? But I would have liked to see that, like, get out. It started with Black people and it needs to end with Black people. So if you're afraid of living next to a Black person because you think your property value is going to go down, leave. Then we can sell it to another Black family and we can build the community that Charles and Willa Bruce envisioned.
Senator Bradford said something that I found kind of profound during the celebration. He said, America has stolen and denied more from African Americans than we have ever looted or burned.
That is facts, straight facts. And there's nothing else to say about that. He just needed to drop the mic and that's it.
Yeah, just leave after that.
That's so true.
When I say that, I say because I agree with you guys. I think that the deal that they had is not going to match the lifetime of, issues that came along with it, the history just along with the Bruces. Like, is this really justice in regards to what you receive from it? What do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing, right? This is justice on the county's part.
Right.
The county has done all that it can do, right? The county found out that they now own the land that the Bruces once owned. They decided to return it. And the family decided to sell it back, right? That's that. So the county, that's justice as it relates to the county. Now, the city of Manhattan Beach has a debt to pay, right? The city of Manhattan Beach did not apologize. They're the ones that owe the Bruces money, compensation for loss of generational wealth, for loss of business enterprise, for violating their civil and human rights. The city of Manhattan Beach is responsible for that, not the county. And I think people get confused about that. The county did all they could do, right? And the family chose to do what they did with what the county gave them. Now, the city of Manhattan Beach has the rest of the debt to pay. So when people see it and they're like, all those years of lost revenue, all those years of lost generational wealth, all those years of all that, why are they only selling out for $20 million? But the county didn't do that to them, right? The county should not have to pay for lost business enterprise. The county didn't steal it. The city of Manhattan Beach did.
So they still are eligible for like a lawsuit, and is that what you're saying? Or
it's quite possible that they will sue the city. It's quite possible. I don't know much about what their legal strategy is because I'm so focused on trying to help some other folks out, and I'm letting them leave that up to their lawyers. But it's quite possible, yes.
Who would you say was your biggest opponent in this whole process? I mean, is there a person that you can name, or is it just the county as a whole?
My personal biggest opponent, or the family's opponent in getting the land?
Or maybe just a struggle of just getting the land back in general. I guess that's what you're saying.
Getting the land back, right?
Yeah.
I think what it was the city of Manhattan Beach. They were opposed to this from the beginning. They've put dog whistles out. I mean, I've talked about how the former mayor Suzanne Hadley tried in every way possible to make me out to be this angry, militant Black woman who was coming around to take land from white people and to ruin their lives, right? Like that was the narrative within the city of Manhattan Beach. But we kept making noise, right? Until the county heard. And what people failed to realize is that the city of Manhattan Beach, as a result of me making noise, created this task force, right, on Bruce's Beach to discover the history, the true history, and all of that, and to figure out how they were going to make amends, right? And their making amends were all performative. They were willing to change the plaque, the language on the plaque. They were willing to do things that didn't provide substantive relief to the family. And so I knew they weren't going to do anything. In fact, when they created that task force, the family asked me to be on it, and they denied me access to it because they knew I would push them to do something of substance. So from the beginning, I knew the city of Manhattan Beach creating that task force was performative. But the good thing that came out of it was an understanding through the research that the 2 plots of land the Bruces once owned was not currently owned by the city of Manhattan Beach anymore. That park is, right, where some of the other Black families were. So the city of Manhattan Beach lost at that point because the land had been transferred from the city to the state, then from the state to the county. So the city of Manhattan Beach had no control over what the county was going to do with that land. Now that they didn't own it. So that was our saving grace.
Wow.
Who was your biggest opponent?
Your personal biggest
Your
opponent.
personal biggest opponent. Yeah.
If you can say
I don't know if I can talk about that right now, but I'll tell y'all about it later. That person is still a thorn in my.
All right.
So yeah, definitely we'll talk about that off here. I was watching also too. I believe it was the Today Show did a profile on this a few days back, and they talked to I think it was Derek Bruce, if I'm correct. Did you see that? And
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
I have a problem with watching news outlets purposely erase Black women that did the work from the story.
Yeah, because I noticed they did have.
And that's the thing, right? Like this erasure of Black women behind the scene doing the work.
Wow.
And when there's a conscious effort by certain egotistical and deeply troubled individuals to make sure that we are not in the story, then that's how we have a problem.
Sounds like that's a story behind the story there, you know.
It was behind the story. There's a lot of haters out there. And one of the haters, ironically, is a part of the family that I just helped get their land back.
Yikes. Wow.
Isn't it funny?
We heard ourselves every time.
All the time. It's always a self-inflicted.
It really is like crabs in a barrel because you're not getting all the attention that you think you should get. You try to bring down or push down the woman who helped you get where you are, and then negotiate deals for movies and series without including me. Yeah, this is some stuff that is very hurtful, but it's happened for so long that I just brush it off.
So let me ask you, because I mean, I'm going to get into the thing what Derek said on the Today Show, which is leading to something else. But now that we're here, I wanted to ask you, did you expect this to happen? Like with everything that's going on, you kind of did you prepare yourself?
I knew in my spirit it would happen. I don't know what it was, but I knew that I had to keep going because it was going to happen. Now, what I didn't realize is that it would happen so quickly.
Right.
But I knew it was going to happen.
Did you always suspect that particular person to be the one, or did you look around the table and it was like, well, it could have been any one of these people?
You mean
in terms of the one that did the negotiations and things without including you? I guess.
Oh, he's a snake, so I knew it was him. He's very manipulative. He's extremely controlling, and so it was. I was a little bit naive going into the process initially because I trusted this individual, and now I'm learning that he was just out for money, for fame, and he's still trying to ensure that I don't get the shine or the thanks that I deserve. And so that's the sad part about it, that someone could do something literally out of the kindness of their heart for a group of people, and then to be treated as if they did nothing. That's the hard part.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't think they could cut you out the deal. I mean, because looking at the whole story, I mean, if I was to do a story, if I'm gonna write some sort of script or something like that, I would have to include you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if it's a period piece that dates back to when Charles and Willa Bruce were alive and telling that story, then you don't really have to include the movement in that because it's from back then. But this individual knew that I'm also an actor, but he didn't even negotiate that in it for me.
That was my initial thought too, Kavon, is that when I heard about the whole Amazon situation, I said to myself, who's going to play Kavon but Kavon? That's, you're an actor. So
but that, like I said, that whole thing is a period piece. It's not even focusing on the current, it's the past. I am, however, negotiating with other folks who want to write a script about what I've done. And so,
I was going to ask.
You could try to push somebody down and it ends up being a blessing on the other end, right? Like, probably good I wasn't wrapped up in that because now I'm negotiating 2 separate deals.
All right, that's even better.
The problem with that is now that, because I didn't know it was a period piece until you said it. I thought it would have, if I had to envision a story, maybe part period, part up until this point, like, kind of like flashing back. But, do you think?
So when you say, hold on, when you say period piece, you mean like it's like a documentary kind of thing, or like one of those stories kind of documentary?
Set in the past. It's scripted, but it's set in the past. As if, like, from when Charles and Willa Bruce were alive, right? That journey and losing the land, all that. It's scripted based on that.
Okay.
From the past, yeah.
So with that said, do you think, and this is just what it is with any historical piece or whatever that they put out on these streaming services, networks and all, will this thing be toned down and twisted and it becomes like historical fan fiction as opposed to the truth? I mean, do you kind of envision that happening or
I don't know. There's a young woman who's the EP on it. Her name is Gabby Shepard, and she's pretty dope. So I don't think that she would allow for that to happen. Plus you got, Viola Davis, her production company, Juve. Plan B production company. So yeah, I don't know that. I think it will actually be a really, really, really good story. Just based off of what I know and who I know has their hands in it.
Right. Okay. So getting back to Derek Bruce, he was basically saying that he used to take his wife to Manhattan Beach and they would look at it and they would think about what could have been during that particular time. And now that it's here, that it's like almost like a surreal thing for them. So it got me thinking, and I'm going to actually play a clip from your speech at the celebration talking about visions, because we're all big on, without a vision, people perish. That's just what it is. You got to have a vision for yourself. So if y'all can sit back, I'm going to play this, and then I want to ask you a question after I play this clip. Okay?
A vision which has been fully realized today. A vision that what was once taken from a people be returned. A vision that something that had never been done before in history happened for the first time. I had a vision. Yes, it was an audacious vision. But the manifestation of that vision is proof that God is real and almighty. This is bigger than anybody over here.
Now, I looked at your face while I was playing that, and it seemed like you were in another place when I was playing this. What I want to ask you is, how did it feel? Can you describe, if you can describe, the feeling of standing up there, looking at that crowd, and then realizing this vision came to pass? This mission was accomplished. What was the feeling that you had when you stood up there?
It was more of a spiritual feeling than anything, right? It was as if I was outside of my body. I've always felt like I was a vessel used to do this work. And when everything started happening and there was a commitment to return the land, it was just confirmed, right? Like that everything that I knew deep down inside I was supposed to do in this world, I was doing it. I've always known since I was a little girl that I was supposed to do something for Black people. Always have known that. I just didn't know what. And the irony is that when I came to California, it was to escape this act, right? Because it was unhealthy. I started hating white people all the time because they just constantly harmed us and got away with it. And so for me, I needed to step away from it. And that's why I came to California. But of course, it called me back. It wasn't something that I looked for. It just happened, right? And so for me, it was just this level of consciousness that I have never had before, where I felt like not so much above everybody, but like everything that was happening to try to bring me down, I knew it was because they were vampires trying to suck the light out of me, the light that God had given me to do this, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I went on that stage with a lot of stuff happening in the background, with a lot of hate happening in the background, with a lot of lies in the background. But I made sure that I didn't allow it to get to me, but that was heavy, it was heavy on me. And so there was this sense of just sadness, right? Like, I just feel sad that these people, despite all of this amazing stuff that's happening for them, have hearts full of hate for the person who made it happen, right? And I just couldn't understand that. I think I was more confused than anything. Wow. I think I was more confused than anything. And then, there are so many people, I don't know if you all saw this, but the woman who wrote that book, Allison Rose Jefferson, essentially tried to take shots at me and say, well, if it wasn't for my book, there would be no justice for Bruce's Beach. Wow. Because she's another hater, right? Wow. And and everybody said, well, it wasn't Kavon, it was this, it was that. But let's be very clear. Right. I've seen video footage from back in 2007 with that woman testifying about how the name of the park needed to be changed. Right. Everybody knew, and the family knew that this had happened to their family, right? Right. But when did something start to occur? When I stepped on the scene, right? So you can't take that away from me. No matter how much you try, you can't take that away from me. You knew about this in 2007, and no one ever fathomed asking to get the land back. Right. As much as people try to say, I've been trying since 2018. No, you weren't. You were trying to get some money because you didn't think that land could be returned. Right. And so, but for me stepping on the scene in 2020 and saying, no, forget about, we want the plaque change, but I want to see you get that land back. I want policy change to get the land back. and to take the steps necessary to make that happen, despite my life being in danger.
Right.
Right. You can't take that away from me, no matter how much you try. And I think that's why they hate it, because they weren't the ones to think of it. They weren't the ones used as a vessel by the Most High to do it. And I can't do anything about that.
You know, in the beginning, the first time we talked to you, it seemed more like, you know, everything that you were doing was more about passion than anything, right? And like you were driven. You didn't really speak about like compensation or anything like that. So I'm wondering, like, you know, helping people going forward in the future.
I was thinking the same thing.
Would you do anything different?
Yes, we are. We have actually set up our organization differently, because we realize that we can't rely on families to do the right thing, right? What we believe is the right thing. You would think that if someone helped you get $20 million, naturally you would say, I'm going to help you help other families, right? And I'm going to give you at least $1 million or $2 million. You would think that, but this situation has taught me that I can't rely on people to do the right thing. And so now we have folks, you know, who have committed to donations should they receive anything. So, you know, we just, you know, we negotiate things, because people understand that this work can't be done with a whole team like we need unless there's funds, right? Like, this is not a local grassroots movement like Justice for Bruce's Beach, where we just did it out of the kindness of our hearts. We used our own resources. We didn't ask for anything, and we still got it done, right? This is a national movement now. And at the center of it is security, right? Not just for my team, myself, but also for the families we're helping out. Because we all know that when we start getting down in the South, it's going to be a lot more.
You're going to need security, all type of stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a different ball game out there.
Even as far as like, you know, as far as right now, I mean, I know you guys, I know you probably have spent a lot of money of your own money doing things to get this done. Like, is there any way that you can, I don't want to say a lawsuit or anything like that, or
I ain't gonna do that.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Here's the thing, you know, Anthony Bruce literally, when the manipulative person was gone, literally sat me down, and I've got witnesses to this, and thanked me and said, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this. And it's unfortunate that he had to do that when that other person left. But he did that, and he said, how much do you need? And I said, $1 million would be good. And so he said he'd talk to the family. So we'll see what happens with that. But I know that there are some, like I said, people in the back manipulating and trying to control things. That won't make that easy.
So is there one person in control, or is there like a family group fund? Or I don't know.
It appears as if a lot of people are in control. But I know from my experience that there's really only one person controlling everybody, even the politicians. Wow. And it's so sad that they've allowed this person to have that much control over them.
I'm just going to say this, Kavon. I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. Please don't tell me it's the chief. Please don't tell me it's the chief. No.
Not the chief, man.
Not the chief.
Not the chief, man.
No way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That's sad. But you know what? It's the stuff that like this that you see in just about any organization, any type of movement. It's always going to be that one factor. And then they wonder why we as people take a backseat to every other movement or have our movement hijacked by other movements, you know, because of this right here.
Yep.
Well, if you've been white, they'd have paid you.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole fact.
I think they would have cut you a check if you've been white, man. But you know, that's how it is. We always hurt ourselves, so it's unfortunate. But you know, you got a good thing going, and like you said, you know, and you speak from a spiritual perspective. So I'm a believer that whatever God has for you, you're going to get it regardless.
And I believe it. That's why I'm not stressing it. I'm like, I'm not losing sleep over this. They choose to give. I didn't go out to do this expecting anything from it. Honestly, I didn't.
Right.
Now, I also didn't go out there expecting that I would form a national movement like this, right? And so that is the only reason why I bring up the money, because it would be nice if the family I just helped contributed to the movement to help other families.
Yeah, and it'd be like just basically look back. You know,
it's like paying it forward.
Paying it forward. Yeah, you went through the struggle. You know what it's like. You know what it took. And now, like, you're kind of the first, if I could say that, the first one to go national with this and accomplish it. Now we can look back for others, because I'm pretty sure your desk is full with families that.
I was going to say,
our team has been busy. I'll just say that. And I have a phenomenal team. So I'm grateful, honestly. And these are people that I've known for over 20 years that are on my team.
Right.
Because I realized that you can't trust everybody. I've had folks come in, try to infiltrate, actually infiltrate and try to sabotage the movement. I've seen a lot, and I've learned a lot. And so now I know how to move.
So speaking of infiltration, do you see a lot of, if you can say this on this microphone, government send their people in to see what the movement is like, to see what they can do, to stop it, if you can say. No comment. I'll take that. I'll take that.
But what I will say is that this experience has taught me to be really, really skeptical of politicians.
And as you should.
I used to give them the benefit of the doubt on an individual basis, but I'm starting to see a pattern amongst them. And I'm realizing that the unfortunate part is that they are out for self. And if it looks good for them politically, they will do it. And unfortunately, I'm seeing that a lot of them just don't care. They don't care about the movement. They care about themselves and what they can get from a movement like this.
I was going to say, this movement has a lot of potential and there's a lot of money in it. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming that you're going to have like a lot of people trying to come in and trying to take over things or trying to create their own movement similar to, And
here's the thing. I have also learned that I will not force anything, right? I am doing this because I feel called to do it. And if at any point the Most High starts showing me that this is not what I need to be doing anymore, I will happily give it up because I'm only concerned about completing assignments that I'm here. And if it is said or shown to me in any way, shape, or form that I need to stop, then I'll stop easily.
Don't let them take your
passion. Not in it because my ego is not in it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My ego is not in it that way. Right. And I listen to spirit. I listened to it, and that's what got me this far. And so if there's that thing that enters me that has been entering me so far, and it communicates to me that it's time to stop, I don't have a problem with it because that's why I'm here, to complete an assignment.
Well, the person that gave that speech we just listened to, we know is not motivated by, greed and glamour.
Yeah.
We know that you're not motivated.
And the irony is that the glamour might come because I am not chasing it, honey. I don't.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm in 2 separate shopping agreements where I'm EP on 2 projects about me. So you see how, you negotiate this deal without me and I'm not even looking for a nugget to them. That's indicative of just like, you don't play with God's people. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then you want to hold it over my head because I want to act. I don't want it that bad.
I was going to say that, looking at from the first time we interviewed you, I was like, I could see this whole movie in my head. You know what I mean? I could see the whole movie in my head. It's probably the easiest script to write. I mean, from the whole point of you starting out being a lobbyist and everything like that and fighting. I mean, so I don't see how they can do it without you, but you kind of explained that they're going back in the past. But I mean, this would be a really good story with you.
Yeah, it will be. And I'm working on it. That's all I
got you. Do what's for you. You do what's for you. And that's what it is. So let me ask you a question. Who's next on the agenda, if you can say?
Oh, you guys spoke with the Burgess brothers, right? You guys had an interview with them last week.
Shout out to the Burgess brothers.
Burgess brothers.
Yeah, they good people.
Yeah. And we got some other families in California we're working with too. We're also working with the Section 14 survivors out there in Palm Springs. We're working with, we're working with about 5 families in California.
Okay. Nothing from any place else. It's just so far.
We are, but I'm not at liberty to discuss.
Not at liberty to discuss it. That's right.
I gotta be careful because a lot of these families are afraid, and if they ask that I not mention that I'm working with them at this juncture, then I have to.
Spoke to the Burgess brothers once. It looks like they'll cut the check. You know what I mean? They seem like some good brothers.
There's some real good
Burgess
brothers.
Yeah. You know what? I used to be like, oh my God, I wish they were my real brothers. I love them so much.
Some good brothers.
And I love their wives. I mean, the whole family is amazing.
Yeah.
So,
that's good. All right. So we very good people. So look, we're very happy that things are coming to fruition and all that, hopefully the experience, which I'm quite sure with the brothers, is going to be a lot better than this experience for you.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll see.
We'll see.
Lawyer up real good next time. Lawyer up real good.
God is the judge and the lawyer, and God will make a way where there's supposed to be a way. So I ain't even stressing it.
I got you.
You put so much energy in fighting that you don't fight for the families, right? I don't have energy to focus on. Let me get a lawyer so I can do this. This person can pay me, and I ain't got time for that. Like, are you going to commit to donate? If you are, thank you. If not, I'm still going to do it because that's what I'm called to do. That's what people don't realize.
Well, you know, what's funny is that when we first interviewed you, that was in my head. I said, when they cut that check, everything will get real fugazi. So I thought that. Well, no, I thought with the family.
Oh, with the Bruces.
Yeah, the Bruces. I was hoping for the best, but I know how when the check is cut, things always go a little different. You know what I mean? And I'm surprised that the family are able to divvy it up the right way without a problem.
I can't speak to any of that. The only thing I can speak to around this money is that Anthony Bruce asked me on 2 separate occasions to give him my bank account information. He asked me how much I wanted. I told him $1 million. He said he would talk to the family and get back to me. That's all I know. That's the extent of I know about anything with that money. Now I can speculate that the person that's manipulating, controlling everything is going to make sure he's going to get him a big chunk of money. But I don't know. I don't even know if he's going to honor his word and actually deposit me some money. I don't, but I can't stress out over that.
Listen, Anthony, we sending this little call out to you from the One Mic podcast. Do the sister the right.
Stop playing around. Cut that check, man.
Stop playing. Come on, man.
Stop playing around.
And
cut
actually,
that check. Man.
what you're asking for, Kavon, by today's standards, is not even a lot. It's $1 million. You know what I mean? It ain't like you said I want half, or you start throwing out percentages. It's $1 million, and $1 million is enough to get this, get this whole thing rolling. Because based on what you've seen here and what you dealt with in terms of years of this fighting for this, you know that your resources are going to have to expand a little bit more. Especially like you said, when we start dealing with the South and all of that, your resources are going to have to expand more.
But I do want to say, and I want to give a shout out to the family's attorney, George Fothery, who's with Sidley and Austin law firm. He got about $50,000 from the county in legal fees, a small amount of legal fees because it was pro bono, and he donated $40,000 of it to Where Is My Land. So I got it.
Applaud him.
Just doing the right thing.
George Fothery the third.
Just doing the right thing. That's good, man.
That's right. He sees.
All right, Kavon, we thank you once again for coming on, and please let the people know where they can reach you at.
www.whereismyland.org. You can also find us on social media, all platforms, Where Is My Land. And then if you're looking for me on Instagram, because I only have one social media account now, I can't stand it.
Oh.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram at Kavon Ward 1.
All right, that's what's up. All right, and the Only One Mic podcast is available on all major platforms that you stream your podcasts on. Also, check out our Only One Mic podcast YouTube channel to catch up on the past and current episodes like this one. And please don't forget to rate the show and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to get in contact with the Only One Mic podcast, you can reach us via Instagram and Twitter at the Only One Mic P1, Facebook and LinkedIn at the Only One Mic podcast, and also via email at the Only One Mic 00@gmail.com. Comments, thoughts, you can just leave it there. We thank you again for your time. Kavon, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
back, y'all.
Definitely.
Yes, good to have you back. And we encourage you to speak your truth quietly and clearly and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant, because they too have their story to tell. So until next time, please keep in mind that we never had to run from the Ku Klux Klan, so we shouldn't have to run from a black man. Peace.
Hey! I love that.